Good morning, everyone. It's Tahiti morning with Andre. I got my last cup, guys. That's it. No more Tahitian coffee. I guess I'll just have to dream about it, watch back all these amazing episodes we've created, talk about it, look at the pictures, and of course, talk about it with our friend Christina. Let's see what she's doing this early morning. Let's get her in here. Today we're going to be talking about by land and sea. Christina, how are you?
Good morning, Andre. I'm great. How are you doing today?
I mean, I'm kind of emotional. It's my last cup. No more coffee from Tahiti. That's it.
Oh, well, that means we got to get you back over there. That's all.
That's true. That's true. This hotel's opening up. I hear, November, they're looking for places. And if some of you have seen I'm going to tease a little episode thing, in the previous episode, Jerry Garcia New Year's party. If you know one of us, I think we can get you an invite, and it seems pretty epic for all the people in the Bay Area that say like, "Oh, New Year's is boring. I should just go somewhere." Maybe
I mean that would be the real 1999 party. Remember how everyone thought 1999 would be the best party? I think the 1999 party is at the Kia'ora in Rangiroa.
Awesome. So Christina, yeah. Who do we have joining us on this amazing Air by Sea show?
Well, you're right. I'm feeling a bit nostalgic as well because we've had a lot of excitement and inspiration around the islands of Tahiti. I think we all want to go there now. I sure do. These mornings have really perked my spirits. I really want to get there. But I think today we're zeroing in on, now that you want to go, how do you get there? Air Tahiti Nui is flagship airline of the islands of Tahiti. And we've got our friend Nick Panza from Air Tahiti Nui dropping by. Michael Wong from the Aranui.
Hey guys, is this a Bringue? Did somebody bring the Hinanos?
Yeah.
You're the cargo ship. You're supposed to bring it, right?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, you are the Bringue. I think that the Aranui is the Bringue of all of French Polynesia, right?
We try.
And what does that mean? What is the Bringue, Michael?
Well, a Bringue is a Polynesian party. So it involves lots of eating, quite a bit of drinking, music, dancing. It's just, a party. Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, now it's a party that Nick is here, because how are we going to get on the Aranui if we don't take Air Tahiti Nui to the islands of Tahiti?
That's exactly
right.
It.
The air part, and it's good that we have Nick here, is the difficult conversations with a lot of people. There's a lot of unknowns, and a lot of people either think the risk is higher than it is, and they don't want to do it, or they're afraid of the airport. And, this week, a lot of articles have come out, showing, the safety of it. And also, even previously, like Airbus and Boeing came out with these episodes of how, air is recycled. But Nick, how has it been on your end? Like, can you tell, how is the new experience? Because is it different? What should people prepare for? Like, what is Air Tahiti Nui doing to kind of alleviate the pain points a lot of people have of being in a plane for 8 hours?
Of course, Andre. For any of us, the moment we step out of our home, there is risk. And our job for our customers, our clients, is mitigating that risk and bringing it down to as small as possible. So along that line, before you can fly to French Polynesia, you have to take what we call an RT-PCR COVID test within 3 days of departure. So that particular type of test, and there are many different tests out there, antibody, antigen, but this test is the most reliable of all tests that are going. It has almost a 100% accuracy. So every passenger going on the flight must take the test within 3 days. And of course, the test has to be negative. When you come to the airport, in order to enter into the airport itself, being at Los Angeles at the Bradley terminal or in Tahiti Fa'a, you have to wear a face mask. And if we listen to the famous Dr. Fauci, and other medical professionals, they all say wearing a face mask helps to greatly reduce any transmission. So first of all, you're negative with the test within 3 days. Secondly, you come into the airport with the face mask on. Airport experiences these days are far different from pre-COVID. Most of the time, the airport is quite empty. There are not a lot of people around. We try to keep people at the 6-foot distance from each other going through the check-in. TSA tries to do the same type of thing. And at the gate area, we also work on that to try to keep the difference. On the aircraft, all of our aircraft are thoroughly disinfected between every flight. And because planes are not flying so much these days, we've got the time to do a thorough disinfectant and cleaning so that aircraft is spotlessly clean. Once you go on board, all of every passenger on board is given a kit by our crew, which includes a couple of face masks, a disinfectant, and wipes, so that if you need extra face mask in the flight, you've got it. The in-flight service is a little bit faster than what it normally is. So normally the crew will take their time, chat with passengers as they offer the meal service, the beverages. Now it's a little bit quicker. They go through faster. And rather than getting 2 or 3 different servings, it will all come on one tray and be served. So it's a little bit faster there. But still, it's our Polynesian crew delivering a very nice Polynesian service. On board, everyone over the age of 11 must wear a face mask throughout the flight. Now, obviously, if you're having your meal or you're having a drink, and we still serve alcohol on board, then you can take your face mask off. But otherwise, you have to wear your face mask for the duration of the flight. During the flight, the restrooms have an extra cleaning that goes on to them, and the crew stays on top of that. We do not necessarily keep the middle seat empty on our aircraft. Often these days there are empty seats, but on the aircraft itself, the Tahitian Dreamliner, which is one of the latest versions of the Boeing 787, has the Heppa air filtration system. So that Heppa system removes all bacteria, 99.95% of all bacteria that might be in the air. And that goes through circulation every 2 minutes. And the important thing on that circulation system is it's not an east-west lateral, it's a north-south longitudinal, or is it the other way around? Anyway, it's a north-south. So what that means is the fresh air comes in from the floor and it goes straight up to the ceiling. So it doesn't come down the body of the plane and blow from one person to the one behind them to the one behind them. It comes up from below your feet, goes straight up into the ceiling and out, and then new fresh air comes in every 2 to 3 minutes. So by having everyone on that airplane with a negative test result, by having people wearing masks before they enter the airport, until they get out of the airport in Tahiti, by the disinfecting of the airplanes, giving everybody their own personal kit, we feel very confident that this protocol has mitigated the risk element as well as anyone could possibly do. And as a result, I think that our passengers should feel comfortable and confident when they board our aircraft.
Yeah. And Michael, what about you? I know you have a unique offering because you supply a lot of the goods to the islands, but you also, have you started taking on passengers? Have you had to change anything in your experience to accommodate?
Yes, of course. Well, okay, so we resumed cruising on July 18th. This was for the local market only. And then our first sailing for international passengers went out on the 8th of this month. So we've put in several protocols on board the ship in terms of wearing face masks in public spaces, social distancing, extensive cleaning public spaces of cabins multiple times throughout the day. The one thing that we have put in place, which should really give people peace of mind, we are giving an additional COVID test prior to embarkation. So this is the same one as that they are required to take before boarding Air Tahiti Nui. And so it is done 24 hours prior to departure. There's a 24-hour turnaround since it has to be tested by a lab in Papeete. And only if they have a negative result will we allow them to board. And this is true of passengers and crew. So we are confident that once people have embarked, they are COVID-free. And therefore, once you leave on board a ship, obviously you are no longer exposed to the population until you get to the islands. And
Michael, sorry, Michael, is this different from or in addition to the 4-day in destination?
It is in addition. This is one that we are doing ourselves, that we are paying for and requiring of passengers before they board. Because because the Aranui is a public service, it is supplying the Marquesas Islands. We have to be 100% sure that we can dock and supply those islands. If we find ourselves with a COVID positive case between Tahiti and the Marquesas, we have to turn around and go back to Tahiti, which means there are no deliveries, no supplies to the Marquesas. And as a public service, we are required to perform that duty. And therefore, we need to make sure that when we leave Papeete, everybody is COVID-free on board the ship.
So, Christina, on the Aranui, have they put you to work? Do you have to help offload the goods? Like, I know it's like, can you talk about the unique experience? It's not your typical cruise line where you have the shows, the buffets. Half of the ship is missing. You guys should look it up. The front of the ship, I think they cut it off or something for aerodynamics.
Everything about the Aranui is amazing. Everything about it is transforming. I compare it to going to Africa, really, in the sense that it's a life-changing moment. When Andre, you and I, we visited the Society Islands. We've been inspiring each other these last few weeks, talking about the Society Islands, and I love them. But going.
But there's 118 other islands. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. 110 other islands. But going to the Marquesas, that is where it's even more than it's like mana on steroids, okay? That feeling we talk about all the time. So it is as life-changing as, going to Africa or the Galapagos, in the sense that this is an experience that does not exist elsewhere. So when you're on the Aranui and you're seeing these bays that are pristine and just unspoiled and breathtaking, your heart stops in a good way. And then when you see, you're right, the gentleman, strongman, unloading the cargo. But the best part is, where are you watching that? You're watching that in the 2-for-1 happy hour on the sky deck at the bar. Am I right, Michael? What's the name of that sky deck?
It's the Sky Bar.
The Sky Bar.
Yeah, you have the Sky Bar. It has the panoramic view looking down onto the cargo holds and the cranes. And so you can just sit there and watch them.
You're seeing cars, in some cases horses. You're seeing, you feel like you are just back in time. It is really, really, it's an unbelievable experience. And, but it's not once in a lifetime. You can go back and do it again and again, because every one of the stops, the guides are so good. You just feel like they're family there. They will go to Jacques Brel's spot. They will go to Paul Gauguin's tomb, and you will go into the village and you will eat. I'm assuming you're still going to have those experiences, Michael?
Yes. So we are still doing it, but obviously for the restaurants, oftentimes the buffet. So now it will be served by the staff. Individual plates to the guests. But yes, and of course maintaining social distance and all the requirements. There are no COVID cases in the Marquesas, and they want to keep it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So would it be good, accurate to say that the Aranui is like the Hurtigruten of Tahiti? You know, the Hurtigruten goes around the Norway
Yes,
coast delivering mail.
Yes, it's very similar. However, we have a presidential suite on board the ship. I'm pretty sure the Hurtigruten
Yeah,
does.
the accommodations are more appealing.
That's where Christina stays, right? The presidential suite. That's where you do. You know,
And
one of the things
work,
that always comes. What's up? Go for it.
and the work aspect is as much as or little as you want. If you want to be a part of the talent show, you can. If you want to learn about, that's a really great thing too. It was a pleasant surprise is the level of lectures and the level of cultural ambassadors that they have on board. You can learn, you can just kind of relax, but it's really to engage all of your senses, I would say.
And can you use it as like an island hop, just to go from point A to point B, and then just hop off and stay at a resort and then go somewhere?
No, unfortunately, that is only available to the local population. So the ship has actually a local deck, and it allows people to get from island to island that way rather than flying. And some of the islands do not have airports anyway, so they have to do it by boat.
So one of the things that me and Christina also kind of constantly get asked is that, you know, Tahiti is a romantic destination. It's only for couples. But what about the kids, guys? You know, can the kids come? I know Nick has an answer for this, you know. Can you bring your 12 and unders to Tahiti? Will they be too much on the plane? Does Air Tahiti Nui take kids? And does the Aranui take kids?
Yeah, this is a great kind of hidden secret for French Polynesia. And you're right, Andre. So many people think it's just couples only. But what we're finding is more and more families are going. And it's a fantastic place for families. It's quiet, it's secluded, the waters are wonderful, the undersea life is fantastic. And Air Tahiti Nui has a special kids fly free airfare. So if you've got one adult for each adult for child 11 and under, they just pay Uncle Sam's tax. And apart
when they're
from
running
that,
around and screaming and shouting, the parents can at least go there like, well, I didn't pay anything for that. So.
well, you know what? On the airplane, a lot of our flights leave in the evening and they arrive in Tahiti early in the morning, about 5 o'clock. So it's an easy connection to the islands or to the Aranui. So those kids, they go to sleep, they fall asleep, and it's a quiet flight. So no worries there.
There we go.
We've got kids fly free in economy, under the age of 11 and under, and one child for one parent. They just pay the tax. So it is a great deal, and it's a wonderful destination for families.
Yeah. You know,
and it's safe once you get there. I mean, you're not going to have to worry about, you know, we always talk about this on where you can leave the resort and you can meet local people. And that's what I love about the Marquesas is, you know, the crew is so good at making you feel like your family that it's just this extra level of protection and safety that you feel.
Now, Michael, what about kids on the boat?
Well,
can they run around and make friends with the locals?
So one thing that the North Americans do not seem to be aware of, however, the Europeans do. Tahiti is a great family destination, sometimes multi-generational. Most Europeans will come to Tahiti as a family, mom, dad, and their kids. And so it is something that the US needs to learn because for the Polynesian, they are very focused on family. A lot of them are large families. And so the taking care of children is part of the culture. So even parents who are traveling, you know, as a family, there will always be somebody on staff who will be able to at least watch them, you know, for a few hours while parents are off doing other things. Certainly true of the hotels. For us, we tend to get more children during the holidays. So that would be summer, Christmas, sometimes Easter. If we have a certain number of children, we will pull a staff member and designate as sort of a nanny. So that individual will take care of the kids, keep them entertained, make sure that they are fed before the adults arrive for dinner, that kind of thing. It is a complimentary service, and therefore it is not guaranteed, and it is really based on the number of children that may be on board at any given time. But generally, it is up to the parents to mind their children and take care of them. I was on board the ship about a year ago, and there was this young German couple in Fakarava, and I crossed the woman and turned back. She had a baby on her back. Did not even realize there was a baby on board the ship. He was quiet, did not hear him for 2 weeks. So, you know, obviously, as I said, the Europeans travel a little differently than the Americans, but it is a great destination for families.
Yeah.
And you know, we've shared, so me and Christina have shared our kind of discovery of Tahiti. Do you guys mind sharing like how you came about to, you know, discover the islands, you know, kind of get its mana in you, you know, when did it steal your heart? And tell us a little bit. Nick, do you want to share your story?
Sure. Well, I am a Pacific Island migrant. So I started my career in the far west of the Pacific, in Fiji, and worked there for many years. Visited the Solomons and Vanuatu, Samoa, etc. And after being in that area of the Pacific, the Micronesian side, if you like, I said, I'm sorry, the Melanesian side, I said, okay, I need to go try the Polynesian aspect of the Pacific. And I ended up in Tahiti about 20 years ago, and had a great opportunity to join Air Tahiti Nui, which I did. And that allowed me to discover these incredibly beautiful, most beautiful romantic islands in the world, which are the islands of Tahiti, and of course to meet the Polynesian people and the Tahitians. And I was fortunate to be able to live in Tahiti for 4 years when I joined the company. So that allowed me to understand what is a bring.
There we go.
A great Tahitian party. So wonderful people, set in incredibly beautiful scenery, the most gorgeous geography in the world.
Michael, how did you come about?
Well, my father is from Tahiti. My mother is from Portland, Oregon. And so I'm sort of a mix of the two. I was born in San Francisco and we were living there. And in the late 60s, what my mother thought was going to be a 2-week vacation to Tahiti to introduce us to my grandmother and uncles and aunts and cousins turned into an 11-year stay. My father had lost his brother and he was called back. And so what started off as a vacation turned into 11 years in Tahiti. So I grew up there. So my relation to the islands is a little different since he is from there.
Now, in terms of the islands, guys, like, you know, there's 118 of them, but what is kind of the one thing that you'll miss out if you don't get on a boat, go out and see, versus just hopping from resort to resort? Christina, what have you experienced? You've been many times, and if somebody just stayed at the main islands of the resort and never really, got onto the ocean past the coral reefs, what would they be missing out on?
Well, you're missing out on the mana. You're missing out on the culture. You're missing out on the feeling and the flavor of connection. And it's not that you have to do that, but it is something that is intangible and unique to the islands of Tahiti. Other island destinations have beautiful water, have wonderful sunsets, and there's nothing wrong with them. But to be able to connect with the locals, and I have to say, Air Tahiti Nui does an amazing job, because when you board the aircraft, the flight attendants hand you a tiare flower. I wish I had one with me right now. And it just kind of starts that feeling of the scent of the islands and the scent of the people and the flavors. So I would say that you're missing out on connecting with the people, but also reconnecting with yourself, because it allows you to slow down and really see the beauty of the islands. And I mean, the Marquesas, not to keep bringing it up, but they're so different. The tall volcanic mountains and the sweeping peaks and vistas are just, they're unparalleled. And so when you see that, you kind of just settle into yourself, and your heart stops a little bit.
Now, you did say disconnect, but let's just make it clear. The Tahiti is far, but both Air Tahiti Nui and the Aranui does have good internet, correct? You could still be connected.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, we have internet on board the ship.
We're not being, you know,
on the plane.
at Christina's house. No.
We're doing good today. We're doing good today.
We're doing great today. We're doing great
today. Well, you know, with just 8 hours nonstop, it's much easier from the West Coast to get there than going across the country. And then it's just a 2 hour or maybe 3 hour time difference based on daylight savings time. It's really much closer than you think.
So yeah, guys, and in these episodes, we've talked a lot about, you know, why Tahiti is a good destination in COVID, you know, the social distancing, you know, the value with, you know, the kids fly free and all of the resorts kind of doing a half board, meaning breakfast and dinners included. And also naturally socially distanced, easy to get to, same time zone. But for you guys, what are some of the things that you really think that make this, if you're ready to travel, and if you're ready to plan ahead for Christmas for next year, why is Tahiti, in your mind, something that shouldn't be a bucket list item, but should be something you should seriously consider? What about Michael? What do you say to people like?
Okay, well, the thing about Tahiti, because it is more, as you move away from the center, Tahiti being the center and the capital island, the more traditional old Polynesia you get. And so, and because of the size of the destination, the country, the 118 islands, the 5 different archipelagos, you can move away from the center and actually find yourself in a different world altogether. There are a lot of areas that are not visited very much. To the south, the Australs, out to the Gambiers, certainly the Marquesas, a lot of the atolls of the Tuamotus. And so for people who are looking for an experience where you can disconnect, but really disconnect, it is a great destination for that. Now, you were asking earlier about, you know, access to islands. The thing about French Polynesia is that a lot of them do not have airports. You can only get to them by water. And so it is true of some of the islands in the Marquesas. It is true of some of the islands in the Australs, primarily Rapa, which is the point further south within French Polynesia. And so it's a great, there's a lot to be discovered. Yeah. And if you're looking to go to places where it is safe, you have a lot of options beyond the traditional Society Islands of Moorea and Bora Bora.
I see. And Nick, what about for you?
You know, I think going on what both Christina and Michael were saying about the people and the mana of the destination, I would say 2 things. Number 1, seize the moment. Was it Carpe Diem? Is that the seize the moment? And take it off your bucket list. Do things now. Tahiti is only 8 hours away. You can get airfares from as low as $730. What are you waiting for? Do it. If you want to go, if it's on your bucket list, seize the moment and do it now. It's closer than you think. We've spoken about the beauty of the islands. We've spoken about how wonderful the people are. And the other aspect, which has been touched upon, is the scale of tourism in Tahiti. Hawaii gets more tourists in, what is it, 1 or 2 weeks than Tahiti gets in a whole year. Michael's boat is not a 5,000 passenger huge cruise liner. It's an intimate, small experience. How many people on the Aranui? How many passengers?
About 200 for most sailings. Yeah.
Exactly. So all of the experiences that you might have in the islands, be it if you're staying at a hotel, if you're going on the Aranui, it is scalable. It is a human scale size. It is not mass tourism. It is not crowds. It is personal. It is small numbers. And thus, as Michael and Christina have said, you're really able to experience the local people and enjoy the culture, as well as seeing the beautiful scenery of those islands. So those are kind of my thoughts. And just in listening to this, it's like, I'm calling my wife. We're going to go soon. I'm not waiting till next year. To heck with it.
I mean, why aren't we? It's true. And you know, Andre, it's so true. And what you were alluding to earlier is the investment that Air Tahiti Nui, all of the hotels, the ministry,
the Tahiti government.
What's that?
The Tahiti government.
To come together and say, hey, you know, maybe you're not ready to get out of the door tomorrow, which is great if you are, but if you're not, plant the seed, dream the vacation, book it so that you can actually take advantage of all these great rates and promotions. And should something happen, there's an unparalleled, that I've never seen before, cancellation and change waiver system, common cancellation program in place, and it's a small enough destination where people are really helping if you need to change or move it for a reason. But I mean, I have, you know, 6 people in destination right now, and I'm envious of the photos that they're sending over, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, the COVID has shown, and I mean, we always knew, being in tourism, how important, you know, tourism is, but a lot of the countries are suffering because the tourists are not there. But Tahiti, you know, almost put their money where their mouth is by saying, we want the tourists and we want them to give us a chance, and we're going to give this guarantee. But one of the last questions I'm going to ask you guys is that me and Christina are Tahiti Tiare Specialists, as you may or may not know. I mean, you probably know Christina as a superstar Tahiti Tiare Specialist, but we wanted to focus in these conversations is the value of the travel professional relationship. I know a lot of people don't use travel professionals. They go directly on the website. They go to other sites, and we're really trying to get the point across about the destination, about the time and value that we spend on planning our clients' trips, our friends' trips. If somebody asks us a questions. Now, how about your relationship with a travel professional? Do you rely on us? What is it that you really appreciate in the relationship that we have formed over the years?
I'll jump in here.
Yeah.
The travel professional is so critical in representing our islands. And for any consumer, yeah, you can go online and you can book something, but that online engine cannot speak to you and cannot communicate to you and tell you the difference between an overwater bungalow at the Pearl Hotel and one that is at the Conrad, and the different views, the different aspects that they have. That OTA cannot tell you the difference between, okay, what's the experience on one small cruise ship like Aranui versus another one on another ship. Whereas the travel professional can convey to the potential traveler all of these tidbits of knowledge and wealth of information that has been garnered through hard work, through going through the Tiare Travel Agent Specialist program, to visiting the islands, to personally experiencing. So as a consumer, you want a hassle-free, no unexpected events travel experience.
And Michael, what about for you?
Well, for me, since I do multiple consumer travel shows every year, I always advise them to turn to a Tahiti specialist, simply because there are so many details and variables. A vacation for an individual should be customized. It should be what they are looking for. Not everybody travels the same way. Not everyone is looking for the same thing. And if you're talking with someone who does not know the destination, they will not be able to provide you what you are looking for. And so I always make sure to advise consumers, if you're interested in visiting Tahiti, you can go to Tahiti Tourism's website, and you will find a list of Tahiti specialists, of people who are certified, who know the destination inside and out. And so, because once I was doing a presentation, it was a consumer presentation, and woman had booked, and obviously my understanding of the destination and knowledge is a little different. And so I was providing all of this information, and she was disappointed that she did not know about this. The first question was, how did you book your vacation? To which she did not use a Tahiti specialist. And it's kind of hard to tell someone, well, if you had, you wouldn't be running into this. I did not. However, that remains the truth. If somebody does not understand or know the destination, and especially for French Polynesia, because knowing that, for example, Bora Bora and Huahine, which are about 15 minutes apart by plane, represents New Polynesia and Old Polynesia. And it is night and day, simply because of the development and the number of tourists that visit those two individual islands. You would not, if you do not know that, it's difficult to explain why the two are different.
And the last question is like, so we talk about travel and COVID, and then we, end on a personal note about if you're ready to travel yourself or if you have any plans. We assume that if you could just get up and go, your situation, your bubble is still the same, but you didn't have to, you can, postpone your work. Are you ready to travel? Do you have any travel plans? I know, Nick, you're going to call your wife after this and be like, we're going to Tahiti.
Absolutely.
So,
Andre, that's
do you
it.
have any other plans?
That's the main
do you have
one
any other
right
plans?
now.
That's the main one right now. Michael, what about yourself? Any
No,
travel plans in the future? Are you
obviously-
ready? Do you feel comfortable?
Well, obviously, as I explained, travel for me is going to be more of a challenge. So no, I don't have anything planned in the foreseeable future. That said, because the work involves a lot of travel, in the old days, I used to complain about having to sit on airplanes and being through airports on a regular basis. I will have to say that the next trip that comes up, I will be more than happy to sit on that airplane. It's amazing how when you have it, you hate it, and when you don't have it anymore, you want it.
Yeah. We're doing this Instagram live every Tuesday at 1. I encourage you to join in your spare time. And it's talking about COVID, traveling in COVID, what's different, what you want to do, and just anticipations and expectations. So I said, Mom, check this out on Instagram. Watch me. And my mom goes, well, aren't you going to dance or anything? Are you just going to sit there and talk the whole time?
Did you dance?
I was like, it's kind of the point But you know what? My mom is in her 80s. She can say whatever she wants, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining. I hope you had fun. I had a great time. Oh my God, you guys are wonderful. Christina, of course, is always wonderful, you know, and I
So are
look
you.
forward to seeing you guys. And thanks so much, guys. It was great. Thanks so much for
All right.
joining us.
Thank you
so
all.
much.
Thank you.